Hello, welcome back to the channel. 22 Grim Dawn tips for 2022. I'll try and get through this as quickly as possible. This isn't every single tip available for Grim Dawn, there are loads more. These are 22 that I picked. First tip, pick a main skill, level it up as quickly as you can, but don't forget to put points into your mastery. So for example, Soldier, Cadence. As you level up, put a point in that, or two. Keep leveling your mastery up. What this means is your main attack skill will become very powerful very quickly, and you will still be having enough points in your mastery bar for any gear that requires physique or cunning or spirit to equip. Also, you won't be a complete weakling. I mean, it's one thing to have a good attack skill, it's another thing to have a good attack skill and plenty of health, plenty of constitution, plenty of cunning. So yeah, pick one skill to start with generally. I mean, it's a generalization. There are some builds where you're not going to do this, but new player, it's good advice. Find an attack skill you're going to use and max it out as quickly as you can. If you don't like it, you can always go to the spirit guide and undo what you've done. So if you pick a skill that you don't like, I mean, this is a spirit guide in Coven, there's one in Devil's Crossing. They're these people who've got a book over their head, and you can see them on the map. They show up. If you click on spirit guide, it highlights it. They always look like the background, so yeah, make sure you find them. You can go into her and you can yeah, you need some money. I'll come to that in the next tip. But yeah, pick a skill, max it out. First tip over. Tip 2, money's important, particularly on a new character. Now, you can give your new characters money. If you go into the Forgotten Gods area, the start of it, and you need to, in normal difficulty, you need to kill Krieg and then you'll unlock this area. There is a guy over here. He's not marked as a salesperson or anything, but if you hover over him, it says Garrus, Keeper of Iron. What you can do with this chap is you can talk to him and it says, I wish to make a purchase. Purchase 1 iron bar, 50,000 iron bits, purchase 5. We'll just do 1 for now. So 50,000 iron bits is a lot for a new character. If you start a new character and you've got 50,000 iron bits, you're pretty much sorted. So I buy one of those things. And that appears in my inventory looking like that. So what I can do now is I can go over here, go into shared stash, dump that in shared stash, and exit to the main menu. If I create a character called Money, now all you've got to do is complete the first quest, so we'll skip ahead to that. You keep doing this, you're going to be powerful enough to take this guy out really quickly. Pretty much no matter what your main attack skill is. Right, I'm kind of doing 2 tips at the same time here. This is your maxing your main attack skill out tip. It's also your getting money on this character tip. Remember, you would need another character who's got into the Forgotten Gods area, so must have killed Krieg in normal and talked to that guy and gone through to that area. So anyway, what we can do now is go back to Devil's Crossing. Once you've killed that reanimator, you talk to him and the prison will open.
The dead a creep needs some time to...
And I've almost maxed skeletons out. Get in here. So you go to shared stash.
Got something you need stashed?
there's that, which is no use to me at the moment. However, I've got two options here. I either get to Krieg and open Forgotten Gods and go and cash that in, or we'll get on to tip 3, which is coming up now. Tip 3, well, it's kind of tip 3 part A. If you go across to Forgotten Gods area in Elite or Ultimate, I'll do it in Elite because you're going to get to Elite before we get to Ultimate. Come down these steps. There's a salesman here. Asgard Cult Supplier.
See anything you like?
Go on to the 1, 2, 3, 4th tab. They will sell a Champion's Merit. In Ultimate, they will sell a Saviour's Merit. They work the same way. Buy one of those.
See you around.
Don't do anything with it on this character, obviously. Put it into
I'll keep your stash safe.
shared stash. Quit out. Go on to your... Where's money? Where are you, dude? There he is. So here's the guy that's got money but can't do anything with it yet. He's got that thing. So if you've got a character that's got to Elite and has got into Forgotten Gods area, you put one of those champion merits in stash, and then you get your noob alt character, whatever you want to call it, grab that thing. Now look at this. Okay, this is brilliant. So this is normal. So I've unlocked those two rifts there. Everything else is, I can't travel anywhere. It's all locked to me. I have no inventory bags. I've got, spend those points so you can see they're gone. So I've got no skill points and I've got no attribute points. What I'm going to do is I'm going to consume the Champion's Merit. If you read this, don't worry about the law bump on here. Can be placed in the transfer stash to use on other characters. Untradable. Untradable means you can't give it to another player. So if you go into multiplayer, you can't give it to someone else. What this will do, it will unlock elite difficulty. It will unlock attribute skill rewards from quests on lower difficulties. That means normal, because it's the same text you get, well, ish, on the ultimate one. So this will unlock all the attribute and skill rewards from normal. It will unlock the rift gates on normal, and it will unlock all inventory bags, which is a little bit of a wonderful thing to have happen. So I've just done that. It says I can access elite difficulty, hooray. I've got all these inventory bags now. I've got 2 attribute points. And I've got 2 skill points because they would have been quest rewards in normal. I could still do the quests, but I've already got the rewards. So yay me. But what this means is all the rift gates are now open. So although I haven't been to any of these places, I can map to any of them that I want to. You've got to be careful. Got a fort icon, you'll get ganked. You'll get jumped on by a bunch of bad guys and probably killed. So you've got to be careful. I mean, I'm in hardcore, so yeah, more. But anyway, I can go to the conclave of the 3, and I can go to this guy, Gareth's Keeper of Iron. It says here I wish to make an exchange. So what that's talking about, I've got that. So I've got 795 iron bits, and I've got that thing that the other character put into shared stash. So it says exchange 1 bar for 50,000 iron. So I've done that. So I've now got 50,000. So on a new character I can go and buy a bunch of stuff that I couldn't afford previously. So that's that. So that's tip 3 part A. We'll now get into tip 3 part B. Tip 3 part B, experience potions. You will need a character who has, one character on your roster who has reached revered status with Malmoth resistance. That's what you need. Once you've got one character to revered status with Malmoth, you can go to their storekeeper guy and you can buy these things. Potion of Clarity can be placed in the transfer stash to use on other characters. 3,600 second duration. 100% plus 100% experience gained. It is an experience potion. Oh, I'm already carrying a whole load of those around because I was using them on this character. So that's great. So I've got 31 of those things. because this character's got a bunch of money and I've got other characters that have got even more money. So what you can do with that is go to shared stash, stick that in there, go and find your noob, go to shared stash,
Got something you need stashed?
take that out,
It's safe with me. Promise.
get over to where you're going to start fighting things. Yeah. Get my skeletons up, and my potion, right. So I've now got, that's active. You can see I'm getting quite a bit of XP now. It's double, so I'm getting double XP for killing stuff. You'll get double XP for everything. You'll get double XP for quest rewards, you'll get double XP for reading lore notes, and you'll get double XP for killing things and doing anything. You may have noticed I mentioned lore notes. That brings us on to, let me just kill these guys. Right, so we've now finished tip 1. I've maxed my skeletons out, and I can start pumping points into that. Let's get on to tip 3, part whatever it was. While I've got this experience pot going, and I mean I'm doing this in a roundabout way, I've got videos about using lore notes to level up. If you want to go and have a look, I'll add that into the description. But what you can do, Conclave's a good place to show this off. If you run around here, there's 5 or something lore notes, and these have got a lot of XP on them. And there's ones in Coven, I'll show you where they are as well, but we'll just grab these quickly. Because you can, if you use that merit at level 1, you can come here at level 1 and pick these lore notes up, drink an experience potion, and then level up quite high before you've actually done anything. There are better ways of doing it. One of the popular ways of doing it is if you use a Saviour's Merit, which unlocks Ultimate, is you collect all the lore notes, go into Ultimate, run all the way to the cave where the Reanimator is, because it scales, partially scales to your level. Did I pick that one up over there? Yeah. Go into the cave, drink the potion, read the lore notes, level up to about level 17 or something if you've got particular leveling gear on. And then kill the Reanimator in Ultimate and do a few other things in Ultimate and make a whole load of massive gains. You can get to level 30 in, well, I don't know, 15 minutes, maybe less. Right, so that's them. There's another one up here that's not dangerous to get. I mean, obviously, don't go anywhere you don't know is safe or not, particularly if you're playing in hardcore. You can go across the Coven. See all these, just in case anyone's dipped into this video and doesn't know what I'm doing, I used a merit to unlock all the rifts in normal, and I'm running around quickly collecting a few lore notes. I'm not going to do all of them, just enough to demonstrate what's going on. There's a couple in Barrowhome. I'm not going to bother going to get them, but there's a couple in Barrowhome that have got a hell of a lot of XP on as well. Just want to show you the principle of how this works, because if you want to play around with a new character and you're not sure if you're going to like it, the best thing to do is to get it up to, watch this now, so I've got these, is that all of them? Yeah, so I'm level 13 now, so I went from 7 to 13, so yeah, you can pick a new thing, whatever. Right, so you can do that. I'm not doing it the most optimal way. I'm just demonstrating. So with a couple of things, with that saviour, that champion merit, and an XP pot, and running around picking a few lore notes up, I'm now level, whatever level I was, 13, and I've got the main attack skill maxed out. So that was tip 1: max your main attack skill out, and then, you know, get your mastery sorted. And I've picked a secondary thing there. Call it a secondary attack on this build. It's a pet, doesn't really matter. Could be whatever you want. And the other thing is, with all those portals, those rifts open, nipping around, exploring and picking up devotion shrines, you can get them a lot quicker now. So that was, I think we're up to halfway through tip 3. The next bit of tip 3 is all about making a budget set of leveling gear for yourself. So stay tuned and I'll get straight into that one. Okay, tip 3 part 2 or A or B or something. I lose track, doesn't matter, it's still tip 3. This is all about leveling up a new character. If you go to the blacksmith, you can put in experience. Some of these are high levels, don't worry too much about it. Start collecting gear that has, if you look at that, it says 5% experience gained, Explorer's Tunic is level 15. That's part of the same set, plus 5% experience gained. There's 4 bits of this outfit: cover, tunic, trousers and foot pads. You can get the blueprints drop for the tunic and the trousers. The other 2 bits just come from random drops, or if you've got a character that's well ahead and got a load of stuff and money, you can transmute these items into other items from the set. It just depends how crazy you want to get on creating a budget leveling set for yourself. But that's plus 10% XP if you create, and I mean, 1 dense fur and 6 scrap, 1 mutagenic ichor and 6 scrap. They're cheap. You can easily make these things on a character that's been running around for a while. Stick them in shared stash and your new character picks them up. So you've got that, you can get those. If you go across to Temple of Osir City Rift, and again these areas scale, generally you'd be coming in here, I don't know, level 50 or 60 or something, if you've done the normal game in Malmouth before you did anything else. But it's not dangerous in here, you can just run through. And where you want to head towards is a hidden area. Which is under this tree and through this bit here. Right, so where we are, that's where the rift was down there. And you just follow this path to there. You come into this hidden refuge. There's a shrine there to restore, but what we're looking for is this thing here. There's a vase over here. It's got this legendary ring in it, the Leovinus ring. Right, that is there once in normal. It is there once in elite and it is there once in ultimate. If you've got a character that's got to elite, this area in elite and normal, you pick that up, you've got 2 of them. Now this is a great piece of kit. Not if I can't see it. I honestly can't. Something with my eyesight. I always put it on. Genius. Yeah, if you don't have something equipped and you pick something up, you can wear it, it'll also equip it. So that Leovinus ring, if you have a look at that, plus 15% to all damage, which is really good, plus 3% experience gain, 24% elemental resistance, which is brilliant. You've only got to be level 10. Required spirit 51. As soon as you put a single point into any mastery, you will get spirit, any mastery. So you put 1 point, you don't have to put spirit as an attribute, just put a point into any mastery and you'll have some spirit. You'll have enough to equip that ring at level 10. So what you've got to do, you've got 2 of those. Like I said, this guy, I mean, he's got one because he's just gone and got it himself. If you've got another guy that's in normal, he can go and get it as well. So then your noob character, stick 2 of those rings on, then go and get bits and pieces of that explorer set and wear that. And there's any medal that you find should, unless it's a weird one, should have an experience boost on it as well. So once you start collecting drops that say plus whatever to experience, keep it in shared stash. And then when you create a new character, if you're going to do the thing with the experience potion and reading the lore notes, equip as much experience boosting gear as you can. I mean, you'll see videos where people will say things like, oh yeah, get a new character, equip your low cast set. Well, good luck with that. I mean, yeah, sure, I've got it, but I've been playing for a long time and I've got characters that can, you know, get into the area where this celestial boss Lokar is. He drops gear that if you equip the whole set, 4-piece set, you get a plus 40% experience boost, which is decent. But if you've only just started playing the game, that's quite a long way ahead in your future. You're not going to have it in a couple of hours. It's not something you can just go and get. He's a boss that's only available in Ultimate, and it is a right faff to get to him, let alone to kill him. What I'm telling you is there's a whole bunch of experience boosting gear lying around that you can pick up or craft or, you know, get. I mean, I just showed you level 13. I'm sort of a total noob. I've got rubbish gear on. But the important thing is I max my main attack skill out. So I can come in here in hardcore and not be particularly bothered. If you hadn't maxed the main attack skill out, you'd come in here and you'd be having a bit of a tough time. As I'm demonstrating now. But, you know, it's still relatively safe. Once you've got that Leovinus ring, just get out of here. Go somewhere where you're not going to die. And you can use that again and again. You know, put that stuff into stash and use it on a new character. Pretty soon you'll have 2 of those Leovinus rings. In hardcore, maybe save more and more of them up, because if you die, you'll lose them. But if you're not playing in hardcore, you only really need 2, unless you're, you know, messing about playing several different new characters at the same time, and you can't be bothered swapping them around. Then go and get more of them. Not difficult to get. So that's it. I think that's the whole of the getting leveling stuff ready for a new character sorted out. It was a long time on tip 3. The next few tips should be a bit quicker than that. Tip 4. I'll do a combined thing with tip 4. Tip 4 is explore a lot and break things. So this is exploring. Look, I'm going down somewhere where the game wouldn't have naturally taken me. And I found something. And I go up here. Now, there's a chest. So, you know, you're going to open chests. But slightly more importantly than remembering to open chests is to break things. See these vases here? In tip 3, we broke a vase and we got a Leovinus ring. In this tip, we're going to break a vase and we're going to get a legendary mace. Sure, it's called a totally normal shield, but it's actually, if you read the description, it is a legendary one-handed mace. It's level 50. That will be there at level 50 in normal. It will be level something else, I don't know, 75 or something in elite, and I think there's a 94 level 1 in ultimate. So yeah, as you saw with the vase that had the Leovinus ring and that vase that had that in, I mean, a lot of other vases will have less impressive stuff in there. Money, bits and pieces, other gear. But yeah, break stuff. Always break stuff. Break everything. Run around, shoot stuff, break it. You might find something really good. Tip 5. Attribute points. General rule, pretty much any build, any character. When you're leveling up, put all your attribute points into physique. Now, you might not want to. What you might want to do is you might want to save a few. You might want to save 5. Just in case you get a ring drop that needs a little bit of spirit and you haven't got enough from your masteries, or you're doing a gun build and you haven't got enough cunning. But if you concentrate on continually raising your mastery bar and not just leaving it down there and filling up all these low level skills, you should be okay. But yeah, the thing is your physique is the only way, well, it's the only way on attributes that you can raise your defensive ability, which is important. Stops you, well, lowers your chance to be hit, and it lowers your chance to be crit. So that's what you don't want things critting you, because that's how you die. Getting hit, well, everyone gets hit occasionally, but getting critted, if you're continually getting critted and there's a whole bunch of animals standing around you or whatever critting you, that's not a good thing. The only attribute that will raise that is physique. If you look at that there, physique also greatly increases your capacity for pain. That's just talking about giving you health points, but it also see the ability to avoid being critically hit. Cunning and spirit don't contribute anything to defensive ability. Cunning scales like physical damage types. Spirit scales magical damage types. Physique scales your defensive ability. So yeah, it's very important. If in doubt, put points in physique. If you start playing and you think you're going to be a mage or whatever, and you pump a load of points into spirit, yeah, you'll get your health will go up, but your defensive ability won't. And you'll get to a point where you're just dying all the time, and you'll think this game sucks. The game doesn't tell you to pump loads of points into physique, but I would say, without any exception, anybody who's producing guides or videos about Grim Dawn will tell you in their videos or whatever, pump points into physique. This isn't just me coming out with some random crazy information. That's pretty much, if you look it up, should I put points into physique in Grim Dawn? The answer is yes. Tip 6. Components. There are loads of videos around about this. Popular opinion, well, the only real opinion that counts is use components. These things drop all over the place and they do all sorts of different things. Now, going back to tip 4, when I was saying about spirit, if you needed more spirit to equip a particular ring, this thing drops all over the place. Polished emerald. Used in shields, caster offhands, rings, head and chest armour. So if you were low on physique, cunning or spirit temporarily, get one of those things, bung it on a piece of armour. Have I got a hat? No, it doesn't matter. We'll go and have a look in a minute. Here's another component, serrated spike. This gives a bonus to you, and it gives a bonus to your pets. Piercing damage. You can put that on a weapon. That actually gives you a skill. There you go, impaling weapons. So now, you and your pets will do additional damage. Scavenge plating, that drops all over the place. You can put that on. That'll give you more armour. Corpse dust, rings, amulets and medals. Gives you a bonus to health regen and some vitality resistance. Stick that on something. And you'll notice the difference. I've done a comparison video, I'll link it in the description, showing a level 10 guy with a whole load of white gear on, doing a run through the start of normal without any components and having a bad time, and then it's just equipping a bunch of components that are common that just drop all over the place and ripping through everything. They make a massive difference early on, and later on the quality and the functionality of the components goes up and becomes more focused, so you can find some really great things lying around. So that's it. That tip, pretty much, when components drop, if you're not sure, wait until you've got more than one, just if you think, oh, I might need this for something else. If you've got more than one of a component, use it. And they do drop quite frequently. I can do a demo of this. I'll run out here. I reckon within 60 seconds, oh, I'm going out on a limb, aren't I? Within 60 seconds, we'll see at least one component drop. Maybe not from these idiots. If we go across to Hargate's Isle, we'll see some. So yeah, so this is just, all I'm doing here is showing you, see that stump, always search stumps, that could be a tip on its own. There you go, Sear and Ember, do you see that drop? That was that thing, so that just dropped. And while I've been running around, I'm level 13, he's got, well, you can see, Chip Claw, Ectoplasm, 2 of those, 1 of them, that's stuff that's just dropped, and 1 of that there, Chilled Steel, it's another weapon thing. So yeah, use them. Get them, use them. They make the game easier, they make progress quicker. There's a chip claw, there's another component that's just dropped there. There you go, that was tip 6. Use components. Following on from tip 6, well, we've got components fresh in our mind. Components and crafting materials, I would recommend putting them in. That's your stash with nothing in it. There's shared stash. As you can see, I keep all my components in shared stash, so they're available and crafting things and whatever, all sorts of bits and pieces. Put them in shared stash so not just so other characters that you create have got access to them, but if you go to craft something or to restore a shrine and it needs a component, if you've got, so long as you've got it in your stash, well, in your inventory, in your stash or in your shared stash, it will pick it up. And you've got a handy button up here, so if you've got components anywhere in your inventory, you don't have to drag them in one at a time. You've got this button up here, move components from the inventory to the currently open stash page. Click on that and they stack in there. They stack up to 1,000. Yeah, so if you've been playing for quite a while, you'll have a bunch of these things. So that was tip 7. Use the shared stash to store your components and your crafting items and other bits and pieces that other characters might want to pick up and use. Tip 8. Use the search function in your stash and at any vendor. So if you wanted to look for something that, see, I'm doing a pet build, so I can type in pets and I can see that these things all give a bonus to pets. And there's gear, gives a bonus to pets. You can look for different stuff, like if you were doing a physical damage build, you can type in physical damage. You've got to be careful because it's just a text search, so it might say something like converts physical damage to some other type of damage, which wouldn't exactly be what you want. Like that one, 18% physical damage converted to ether damage. So although it does physical damage, it does a damage conversion as well. So just be careful because it's just a text string. So it's not interpreting that and showing you things that do physical damage. It's just searching for that text in the tooltip of the item. But you can do it there, and you can do it at any vendor as well. So if you put pets in there, he's got some stuff that does a bonus to pets. The other thing you can do, if you've got a load of stuff to sell and you can't be bothered going through it one at a time to find out whether you want to keep it, if you sell it all and you accidentally sell something that has got a pet bonus on it, which yeah, okay, let's try something different. Let's say, I don't know, vitality damage. So it's always a good one. So if I was doing vitality damage and I didn't want to sell the items that did vitality damage, I'll just get them back. If you sell it, it says cost 24 original sell value. So anything that you sell, you can buy back for what you sold it for. So your money, you won't lose out. So you can just grab all that if you want it all back. Just grab it all back. And although your money will go down, it won't go down below what it started off at. I mean, I can prove that, 51,988 or whatever, stick that in there. Goes up to 51,992 and I get it back and it's 51,988 again. So I mean, you know, like I said, you can use that fairly safely to check stuff before you sell it. So that was tip 8. Use the search function at stash and at vendors. I mean, you can get as creative as you want with the sort of things you search for there, but remember it's a text search of something that's in the tooltip of the item. So you can't like type in there, you know, please show me stuff that was good for this character, because yeah, that ain't gonna work. Tip 9. Don't be intimidated by the devotion screen. When I first started playing Grim Dawn, I looked at this and I just thought, oh, whatever, because it just looks as baffling as hell. I've got a video all about the devotion screen, restoring shrines, allocating points, assigning points and linking skills to whatever, all sorts of devotion stuff. I will link that video in the description. Basically, when you walk around the world, you find shrines. Let's go and find one. Let's go and find one that's easy to do. Where's one that's easy to do? White Mire. This is a fight one, desecrated one. I'll ignore those idiots. I go the long way around instead of just skipping the video ahead, just so you can see, 'cause, you know, this is possibly going to be the second or third one at a push that you find. There's a cave up here. You can see the cave on the map there. So yeah, so don't be scared by that devotion screen. It's it looks the way it looks because they've done a really good job of tying it into the lore of the game without just making it a bunch of numbers. Right, so you come into this cavern near the White Mire Rift. There's two types of shrines. There's ruined ones and desecrated ones. The desecrated ones are these red looking things. You have to start a fight to clear the shrine. Right, so I've got 2 points now. So once you've got a point or two, you come on here and you look at that and you think, what the hell? You can only put points into these nodes here to start with. I wouldn't get too obsessed with what they do, because what you really want to look at is you want to try and find something. Like I've got a pet build, so I'm going to stick pets in here. Yeah, so you put pets in there. That will show you where all the pet stuff is. So you find one that's close. That's close. Only needs 1 point in red. See, it says affinity requirement 1. So if you put 1 in there, all the things that add an affinity requirement of 1 red are all lit up. So now you can start putting points into that. And when I get to that flame torrent, I can actually attach that to my pets. So they'll be awesome. They'll be running around setting everything on fire. So yeah, I mean, you can, the further out around the outside of the constellations you get, the more the requirements are. That needs 10 green, 18 blue, 12 purple, 18 blue, 8 gold, 18 blue, 15 purple, 8 gold. You can see 18 purple, 18 green. So every time you complete one of these, that gives you 2 red, 3 green. That thing will give you 3 green. That thing will give you 2 red, 3 green. That thing will give you 3 purple, 2 gold. So you can figure this out. If you want to experiment, I try not to recommend leaving the game, going to websites, but grimtools.com is it's a resource for Grim Dawn. You go to grimtools.com. There's a build calculator. You can go onto the devotion screen and it will give you the 55 points, and you can mess about filling this in, trying to see, like, you know, what do I have to do to get to here, to there, whatever. You can practice and try it out. Maybe make some notes and go, oh yeah, I put a point in that, then I completed that, then I went to there, then I went to here, and eventually I got out to there. And then you can replicate it in the game. It's not cheating, it's just figuring out how you're going to do something, rather than pumping a load of points in and then realising you cocked it up and having to reset all your devotion points and start again. But yeah, don't be intimidated by this screen. These things are cool. I mean, they give you all sorts of buffs and bonuses. There's a search bar there, so if you know what type of damage you're doing. Fire damage, for example, you can have a look, and all the things that have got red dots on do fire damage, so you can figure out, you know, I want to pick that and that and that. Yeah, so tip, whatever that was, 8, 9, 10, I don't know, 9 I think, don't be intimidated by the devotion screen. Tip 10, resistances. On your character tab 1, you'll get to see your main resistances. There are other resistances that are on tab 3, but the main ones on here get affected by the different difficulties. On normal, there's no reduction, but what you'll see in elite is you'll get a minus 25% reduction to your resistances, and in ultimate you'll get a minus 50% reduction to these resistances. So you've got skills that will add, let's find one that does that. Decorated soldier, elemental resistance and slow resistance, scars of battle, bleeding resistance, reduced stun duration, reduced freeze duration. There's all sorts of devotions. If you have a look at that, vitality resistance, slow resistance, chaos resistance, vitality resistance, physical resistance, cold resistance, lightning resistance. So you can up your resistances with skills, with devotions, with gear. That's got ether resistance, bleeding resistance, reduced freeze duration. Those things have got elemental resistance, chaos resistance, vitality resistance. Physical resistance is an interesting one because it's only mentioned on here, and what physical resistance is if you get hit by an attack that deals physical damage, your armor, it would absorb that damage. But if you've got physical resistance, try and get that as high as you can. It's different from looking at these things which have all got an 80% soft cap, and some of them you can get higher than that with gear, with devotions might raise that above the soft cap, and then you actually see how far over maximum it is. Things like elemental, whatever, you get bosses that will lower it, they'll lower your resistance. So if you've got it over capped, if they knock that down by 40%, that's still going to be over the soft cap of 80 by quite a considerable margin. So yeah, in normal, pay a bit of attention to this. I mean, you don't really want to be running around with anything on 0, but in elite you need to have them as soon as possible at their soft cap, and in ultimate you need them at their soft cap, and then you need them over capped in case you come up against bad guys that reduce them. So yeah, resistances, don't take them for granted. Do whatever you can with skills, devotions, gear and components, and augments. Augments are great, can only mostly get them from faction vendors. Venom Guard powder, nip across and have a look at that guy so you can see where I got that from. Here's the Rovers faction guy. At Revered, he will sell that. Pierce resistance and cold resistance applied to all armour, and he will sell that. Venom Guard powder, 18% poison and acid resistance applied to all armour. So if you're really struggling to sort your poison and acid resistance out, get Revered with the Rovers, come and buy some of them, stick them on whatever armour pieces you need to. Tip 11. Moving on nicely from the fact that you need augments to fill in gaps in your resistances, make sure when you're playing, if you're on a first character running through, when you get to honoured with any faction, go and buy a writ, stick it in your inventory, and then read it, consume it. When you get to Revered, buy these things, mandates from all the factions you get Revered with. You can't use them on the character that's Revered because you can't raise your reputation any higher than Revered. But get that, stick it in stash, and then use it on, like, I'll show you. So I bought that one. I'll go to Devil's Crossing and I'll get the Devil's Crossing one. These are probably the first two you're going to get. The first two factions you're going to meet. So I've got, if you try and read that on this character, it will say no. But if you go and put them in shared stash, find a slot. Yeah, I've got a few in there already. So I'll put them in there. Where's money? There he is. So you got your new character earning reputation at a snail's pace. So you think, well, that's no good. I want to be earning reputation a heck of a lot faster because it was slow enough the first time round. There's all sorts of ways to shortcut things on here. Right. So I get that one. That's the Devil's Crossing one. There's the Rover's one. So if you look at his, he's tolerated with Devil's Crossing, which is, you know, if you read that, just right clicking on it to consume it, and I go and have a look at that again, I've got a 150% bonus rep. That means anything you do for them that earns reputation, you get 150% added on, so it's like better than double rep. Right, meanwhile, let's slip another tip in here. I don't know what one this is going to be. 11A or something. Let's pretend this tip hasn't got a number. Totems. Every time you come across a totem in the world, activate it, kill all the guys that come spewing out of it. Well, he's tough, isn't he? Look at him go. Yeah. Yeah, look at that, look. You get a massive amount of XP and you get all sorts of stuff. So I can pick all that up. Yeah, so that tip, I wasn't really going to do that tip, but it's kind of, you know, it's like saying a tip, fight things. But yeah, if you see a totem, go and have a go at it. Rover's rep isn't showing up on here, even though it's earning its 100 plus 150%. So I've got this quest off this guy. He wants me to go and open up a gateway by blowing something up with dynamite. I had some dynamite in stash, because obviously I'm keeping stuff that's useful in shared stash. Right, so you come over here, blow this up, and I go back and talk to him. Quickly check the rep. See, so Rovers isn't showing up, it's not on there yet. Once I talk to him, I'll get Rover's rep. There it is. The quest reward says it's giving me an inventory bag, but because I use the merit and I've already got them, you'll still see this appearing in the quest rewards, but it won't give you another one. Once you've got your 5, you don't get any more. But there's the 625 Rovers rep that I got for that. So if I now go and look on here, there they are, and it's got the 150% thing on it from reading that mandate. So that's it. So you need to plan ahead. You need to think, I want reputation to go up as quickly as possible, because if you remember, the faction shopkeeper here sold that. He also sells a whole bunch of other great stuff. There's all sorts of useful things in here. Any of these items, you can only use them on the character that's got high enough rep to buy them. You can't buy that. See, it says soulbound. It means you can only use it on the character that buys it. You can't put that in stash and use it on another character. However, blueprints, if you create, you buy a blueprint, so your blacksmith can use it. If you create that item, you can put that in shared stash and use that item on another character. So that just works like any other blueprint. It just becomes a craftable item at the blacksmith. So that's the difference. Items you buy, you can only use on the character that buys them. Blueprints you buy, the crafted item can be used on any character. And there's a bunch of stuff in there. Those are all augments that go on either weapons or rings or whatever. These go on armour, the revered ones, and they're almost exclusively to do with resistances. I think there's some at the witch gods, Soleil, Drieg and Bismael, that don't specifically do resistances. There's some that raise defensive ability or whatever. So yeah, get a mandate, stick it in stash, use it on a new character, get your 150% bonus faction rep, and enjoy buying all sorts of cool gear with the money that you made from exchanging one of those other items. See how it all links in? Anyway, on to the next tip. Tip 12. You can reset pretty much anything apart from points that you've spent in the mastery bar once you've committed them. So let's start with that. So there's the mastery bar. Now you're probably going to want to get it maxed out, but you might not. If you're doing a dual mastery build, you might not want to go all the way to 50 on both of them. You might want to stop at a particular point and only get, say, an exclusive skill for one mastery and maybe stop the other one short. While you're on this screen, if you pump a load of points into the mastery bar and then panic and think, I wish I hadn't done that, you can undo the points. But you can only do that while you're on this screen and that undo points is lit up. If you close that down, you won't be able to undo those points ever. You just can't. Now, everything else you can undo. The spirit guide, talked about this before, click on that button if you can't find it, because that green thing looks like part of the map. You talk to her. She's got two panels. She's got, well, three. I mean, she's got a panel for each of your masteries, and she's got a devotion panel. So if you want to undo skeletons, you can take that down to 1. It won't let you take it any further because you've got that node there active. If you want to undo it completely, you've got to make sure any of the other nodes in that skill are empty, and then you can undo it completely. Again, if you come on here and do that and then think, what am I doing? I wish I hadn't done that. If you undo the points, you get all the money back that you spent, and it goes back to where it was. So you can undo skill points there. Devotion's similar sort of thing, you can undo them, but you need an ether crystal and some iron bits. So I've got 558 ether crystals. It's looking in stash. Remember what I said about that's just not looking in my inventory, that's looking in stash and shared stash. So if I zap that, won't let me do it. If I zap that, that goes down to 557. If I don't like what I did, I can undo it. I get the ether crystal back. The reason it wouldn't let me undo that is it says dependency fiend. He depends on that 1 point, so you can't undo that. It's the same as you can't undo the last point in that if any of those are active, because they depend on that. So if you want to undo that point, you've got to undo that fiend one and then that one. And if you don't like what you did, undo it and get it back.
Stay strong.
Attribute points. You can actually undo attributes, but you can't like undo them one at a time. If you put some in and you don't like what you did, you can undo it. But if you want to undo the whole lot, the only way you can do that is with a potion. There you go. That's to undo all the devotion points. I mean, that's an extreme situation if you want to do that. But this, Tonic of Reshaping, used to reset your attributes. I'm not going to waste one of these. You get these as quest rewards. I'm not going to waste one because obviously I might need them at some point, and I mean, it looks like I've got a lot, but that's after quite a long time playing the game. So if I was to consume that, that would go, all of these would go back to whatever their default starter point was, as if I'd never spent any points in there, and then you can just reallocate them as and how you want. But you'll get them from quest rewards, so that's a little bit more of a long-term investment. And if you get one of those, I mean, God, if you get one of those drop in a quest reward, don't then immediately use it and undo your attribute points, because you'd have to be in a particularly messed up state to want to do that. And if you follow tip 1 or 2 or whatever it was that says mostly pump your points into physique, you'll never go far wrong. Tip 13. Diversity is not your strength. Now I'm talking about damage. When you're building a character, have a look at, I mean, you can have a look at the masteries and see what sort of stuff they do. This character is focusing mainly on using Bloody Pox. Bloody Pox does vitality damage and bleeding damage, and these nodes add vitality damage and buff bleeding damage, and a little bit of poison on the end, but that's vitality and bleeding as well. So because I want to kill stuff with this skill, I want weapons that do vitality damage and bleeding damage, and increase vitality damage and bleeding damage. I want to wear items that have got bonuses to one or both. That's got vitality damage on it. That's got plus 31% to all damage on it. And then devotions. I've gone over here and picked this up. Vitality damage, and it's got a skill that procs that does vitality damage, and that's attached to bloody pox, which is my main attack skill. Down here I've got this guy, bleeding damage, does a bleeding buff. This is a work in progress character. It's the one I use in multiplayer. I'll put a link into the BAM Games channel where I do multiplayer with the guy that runs that. Here's another tip. Look, you can draw things on the floor. So yeah, so if you pick a damage type, concentrate on it, or concentrate on one or two damage types. And if you've got a skill that does 2 damage types, you're laughing. And then build around that. Use gear and devotions that support those damage types, so they get stronger and stronger and stronger. Don't just stick points in everything and hope for the best. Well, you could. I mean, you can stick points in everything and hope for the best, and maybe you'd learn from your mistakes. But good luck with that. Yeah, don't diversify your damage types. There are exceptions to that rule, mostly involving pets, but don't worry too much about that. If you focus on 1 or 2 damage types, as with a lot of things in this game, you won't go far wrong. Tip 14. Keep duplicate set items. This is a very simple example. I've got 2 rings here, left hand of Carnage. If you look at that, this ring is part of a set called Carnage. The right hand of Carnage, the left hand of Carnage. Now I've got 2 of these because 2 of these have dropped. Now if you equip them, you can equip both of them, but it only shows that you've got the left hand of Carnage equipped, and you don't have that plus 50% bleeding damage with 100% duration set bonus. So how do you sort that out? Well, you go and get the transmute ability. I've got a video about that, but basically it involves picking up a quest from a guy in the Conclave of the Three, completing that quest, and then your inventor or inventors will have the transmute ability. And you've got 2 things they can do: transmute a set piece into another part of the same set, which you kind of you know what you're going to get with that. Transmute a set piece into part of another random set of a comparable level. That is like a real gamble. God knows what you're going to get. Okay. Now, if you've got a 3-piece set or a 4-piece or a 5-piece, and you stick one of these like a set item in there, you'll get a random part of it back. With these rings, there are a few sets in Grim Dawn where there's only 2 parts of the set. A lot of ring sets work like this. Now if I take that left hand of Carnage and stick it in that transmute panel, that's going to cost 120,000 iron. One of those rare Eldritch Essences, when I say rare, I got loads of them, rare Eldritch Essences, 3 ether crystals and a polished emerald. I mean, don't worry too much about that, you'll have loads of them. By the time you get to the level in the game where you're going to be worrying about transmuting set items, I mean, I've got 5 million or something. So yes, you should have enough stuff. Now, with this, because it's a what it won't do, it won't transmute the thing into the same item. It will transmute it into a different part of that set. So if you've got rings and there's only 2 in the set, you know without doubt, absolute 100% guaranteed, you click that transmute button, you're going to get the other one. Okay? So now I've got 2, and I've got the set bonus plus 50% bleeding with 100% increased duration, which is useless on this character, but it's going to be really good on a different one. So there you go. So that was that tip. Keep duplicate set items, because sooner or later you might want to transmute one of them into another part of the same set. Tip 16. Explore everywhere. I mean, it's kind of obvious in an RPG, but Grim Dawn's really good at having hidden areas. There's all sorts of hidden areas all over the place in Grim Dawn. And here's one of my favourites. We've even got a video devoted to this, Hallowed Hill. There's Burridge Village, there's the rift down there, there's the bridge. This is where you kind of, you'd head past this on your way up to do some of the campaign stuff, on your way to get Krieg. You come into this building. Now there's a bit of fire burning here. Sometimes that isn't there. Sometimes when you come over the bridge you can just come down here. And you're generally just going to run straight through. But if you double back, you can go underneath the bridge. Wow, look at that. And there's a hidden area. There's a cave. And that leads to a whole new place called Hallowed Hill. I'm not even going to go in there because I don't want to spoil it. I mean, I've got a video that completely spoils it if you want to watch that. But for now, yeah, explore everywhere. I mean, you look on the map and you're not on the map. The map's there. It doesn't even show you that that's a place, but it is a place. And you can go through that. So yeah, tip 16, explore everywhere. Trust me. Tip 17, when you reach honoured reputation with a lot of factions, they will have new quests appear in their hub area. So this tip is, when you reach honoured reputation, as well as going back and buying a writ if you need to, I mean you might be running around with a mandate so you don't need a writ, when you get honoured reputation, go back to the hub area and have a look around and see if any of the NPCs there have got a new quest for you. For example, when you get to honoured rep at Devil's Crossing, Kasparov will suddenly have a new quest.
There you are. Come, come. I have supped nearly a century ago. A man named Oswald Hargate created the first slith.
And this quest is called The Origin of the Slith. Recover Hargate's formula, bring the formula to Kasparov and Devil's Crossing. Got a video about this, but I won't spoil it in this video in case, you know, for new players. Just be aware, earlier on we were running around Hargate's Isle. It's the place slightly northwest of Devil's Crossing where you get on a boat and go across there. But yeah, so when you get to Honoured Reputation at Devil's Crossing, come back and talk to him and he'll give you that quest. A lot of the other factions, when you get to Honoured, people who didn't previously have quests for you will suddenly have quests because your reputation's gone up. So make sure you go back and check. It's very easy to miss. I played Grim Dawn for ages before I even realised that that was happening. Because unless you come back and go in there and talk to him, you don't notice it. So that's it. Tip 17. Return to the hub areas of factions when you get to Honoured Rep and check for new quests. Tip 18. Resize the minimap. You can make it bigger. It's this button down here. Compass map toggle. Wonderful. You can also make it go away altogether, but I like to keep it like that. Bit of a cheap tip, but it was 18. Tip 19. You can go west before killing Warden Krieg. If you've got the money in the scrap, you can go west as early as you want in the game. Now, this may make it easier to kill Warden Krieg because you will level up a bit and you will collect some more devotion points. If you come to this point in Devil's Crossing, all you need are 6 scrap and 3,000 iron bits. You can repair the bridge. You can see I'm still helping Barnabas with the water pump and helping Kasparov. I haven't even completed the first quests in Devil's Crossing yet, and I've repaired the bridge and come out here. This is where you get to fight these cowboys and do whatever. So that's tip 19. If you want, you can go west into the rest of the game before completing Act 1. You don't have to, it's an option. My tip is, consider doing it to level up before the Krieg fight. Tip 20. Don't be afraid to look at build guides to get some ideas and to maybe get a bit of a head start. Because if you've played a couple of characters, got to, I don't know, level 15, level 20, hit a wall and thought, this is too difficult, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't understand what skills I'm supposed to use, I don't understand the devotion screen, I don't understand anything. There are walkthroughs out there that will show you every step of the way how to build a strong character, and a lot of them don't rely on particular gear. I mean, I've got a current Purifier set of videos that are proving quite popular, which I'm really pleased about, where I've taken a brand new starter character, picked some gear up and just played through the game. You know, you can follow a guide like that, you can use a guide like that to get some inspiration, you can check bits of the guide out to find out maybe some bits that you're not too clear on. And then once you're, because I mean, this is what I did. I mean, I tried playing the game without knowing anything about it and found it incomprehensible. There was so much to figure out at the start. You really don't know what you're doing. If you pick a guide up that walks you through, you know, focusing on damage, how to link your devotions optimally, all about resistances, so you kind of you walk through it, you step through it. It feels like cheating, but then what you do is you use that knowledge and you think, okay, I'm not going to look at another guide now, I'm going to do my own thing now that I understand the basics. And then you feel real good about it, because you haven't got the frustration of hitting your head against a brick wall every time you try and do something and it doesn't work out. But you haven't actually cheated. You've used the guide to become familiar with the game and to learn about the mechanics, and then you create your own build, and then you run around thinking, this is great, I'm doing this all on my own now, because you've gone past that point where frustration was holding you back. So yeah, so that tip is, if you want to, look at build guides and use them, but you use it in the way that suits you, or completely ignore build guides. And if you get on with the game and do really well without them, brilliant, good for you. I wish I'd been able to do that, but I wasn't. I had to use a build guide to figure some stuff out, and then from that point on I've done a whole load of my own and had a great time with it. Tip 21, mobility skills. You will find that some classes, some masteries, have a mobility skill. This is something that allows you to move faster and further, much faster and further than your normal running around. For example, blitz. That's blitz. Now, if your mastery doesn't have a natural mobility skill, you can find medal augments. These things will I need to go and stand somewhere where I'm not going to get interrupted. This will do. You can get medal augments, glyphs. For example, this one, the glyph of sudden strikes. I'll show you the glyph of sudden strikes in a minute. Right, so I'm going to go at him with blitz, and then I'm going to use the glyph of sudden strikes to get him. Blitz, glyph of sudden strikes. Blitz, glyph of sudden strikes. And you can run around like a human pinball. Blitz has got quite a good distance on it, so has this other one. Okay, so that the glyphs were introduced as part of the Forgotten Gods expansion. Have a look at them. You'll start getting the blueprints drop, and if you're lucky, you'll get one that does a damage type that matches your damage type. Obviously, you know, if you're only getting ones that don't, just use whatever one's best for you. But because this build's doing physical damage, I've got a glyph that does physical damage. Does it make the game more fun? Yeah, too right. Look at that. Because if you've got two, and if you've got one, you've got to wait for the cooldown. If you've got two, as long as you don't go completely crazy, you can keep almost spamming them. So there you go, tip 21, mobility skills. Be aware of them, use them, have some fun with them. Tip 22, don't play hardcore. Don't play hardcore until you're ready to play hardcore. Because what will happen is you'll die. Everyone who plays hardcore knows this. You will die. The first time you play hardcore, you'll think, you know, I'm doing really good. I know what I'm doing. I've played the game a bit. I know where all the hard bosses are. I know I can take them out. I know I can run quickly from one spot to another and pick up some gear. But what's going to happen is you're gonna go into hardcore, like I did, thinking, you know, that you're untouchable, and you're gonna live forever, and you can face any boss, and you know, most of the time you'll be okay. And then you'll make a mistake, and you'll take on a boss that's too strong for you. You'll take on a bunch of guys that surround you and start whittling away at your health while you'll focus on the boss, and your health will go down and down and down, and you realise you didn't pick any health potions up, and before too long it'll be too late. And there's only one way you can avoid dying, and that's being really quick with the pause button or the escape key, or so that's your main hardcore skill. And if you fail at that, you're going to see that. Tip 22. Don't play hardcore until you're ready to see this. That was it. 22 Grim Dawn tips for 2022. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you aren't too shocked and appalled at seeing a dead character on the screen. And I'll just keep churning out the Grim Dawn content as long as people enjoy it. If you've got any tips, I mean, obviously I barely scratched the surface. 22 tips is nothing. If you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, but you didn't mention such and such a tip, please put it in the comments. What I'll do, I'll keep an eye on them, and I'll give them a big thumbs up and a rating out of 10 or whatever. Probably agree with most of them, probably agree with all of them. I mean, most tips are valid, even if they don't suit every build or every player. So that's it from me for now. And like I said, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.